Beautiful. Okay. So from here, I'll invite you to turn to face the long edge of your mat like I am doing here. I'm just standing right in the middle. And then you can widen your feet apart about a leg's length, maybe a little longer. And then we'll come into a little warrior series. So I'm going to mirror you for this part, so forgive me if I get it wrong. We'll do both sides. It's nothing too complicated here. So we'll turn the right toes out to the right, left toes in a little bit, bending into that front leg to come into warrior two. And open the arms up. Okay, so you want your knee just right over top of your ankle. So for most of us, that means we're pressing it a little bit back. So the knee is almost aiming over the pinky toes. And let's do a little bit of movement with the arms here. So turn the palms down and bring the thumbs together. And then flip the palms up and open the thumbs apart. Exhale, thumbs down, bring the hands together. Open the hands, inhale. And close, just following your breath. You could even close your eyes if you want. A little opening for the chest. And then the next time you're open, let's stay open. Shoulders drawing down the back. And then allow your back hand to rest on the leg and reach that right arm up into Exalted Warrior. And you can just reach the arm up, or you could hold the back of your skull if you like, hugging the elbow in and just getting a little bit more of that space into your kind of shoulder armpit region. Imagine that your spine is really growing up from your pelvis and leaning back. Beautiful. Okay. And then we'll straighten the front leg and come into triangle pose. So allow your hips to tilt a little bit down. Make sure you've got a bit of a bend in your front leg and allow the fingertips to land on the shin or block or floor. Some of you might find you just need to shorten your stance a little bit, maybe a little heel toe. You might not. See how that's feeling today. And we're turning the heart open towards the sky. So one of the things triangle is a side bend. So if you'd like, you can take your left bicep alongside your ear and hold the back of your skull here. So it's kind of that similar feeling to what we were just doing, opening up the armpit, but it's going to feel a little bit different here. And again, just make sure you're not hyperextending into your right knee. You want to keep a little bit of a bend there. So I've got my hand on my shin and I'm just resisting my shin into my hand. So good. Let's gently release the hand, look down at the earth, and then we'll spin the hands to the earth and the back knee down to the ground as well. You may want to pad your knee with a block or double fold your mat. We'll heel toe the right foot open to the right. And you can allow the toes to turn off on a little bit of an angle. Like 11 o'clock kind of deal. And then I'm just kind of walking my back knee back a little bit. You can also point the toes here, see how that feels for you. And kind of sink into this little bit of a hip opener. So when I say sink, don't dump, okay? Keep some integrity in the muscles. But you can allow your heart to stretch forward as the hips descend a bit. Some of you might want to have your hands on blocks. You could also experiment with bringing your elbows down onto blocks or the floor. And then from here, so I know you can't see my legs super well here, but you want to think about lifting the toes up and then allowing the knee to wing open. So you're adjusting the angle of your hip and the inner edge of the foot is kind of coming up off the ground. So I'll just turn forward just to show the general shape. The foot lifts, toes are turned out a little bit, and the knee is opening kind of that way. So you want to keep the ankle nice and steady so that it's not the knee we're stretching, it's the hip. Okay, so I'll just give you a last option here. For some of you, if you're a little bit more flexible, if you're feeling pretty warm today, this is of course totally optional. But if you want to, you could step your right hand a little wide. Sorry, that would be your left hand. Bend your back leg, take a little bit of a twist and reach back for your foot. So that's adding a quadricep stretch. It's quite intense. Okay, so just if that feels good for you, you want to add that. If not, don't worry too much about it. So you're twisting towards your bent front knee and then reaching back to hold the foot. So good. Okay, gently release the foot if you've been holding it. Come back up to your hands if you're down. Gently draw the knee back into the midline. You can keep your foot angled out a little bit here. We're just going to briefly straighten the leg. So it's kind of like a wide Ardha Hanumanasana. Take a little halfway lift and then just gently melt in a little bit towards the leg. Just releasing that little sequence. Okay, and then from here, what I'd love for you to do is bend into your front leg so that the foot lands. Tuck your back toes under, pick up the knee, and then walk your hands. You can bring your blocks with you into a wide-legged forward fold, so you're facing the long edge of your mat. Take a halfway lift and then fold in here. So I'll just give you a couple of options. My favorite option is reaching the fingertips forward and melting the heart. I don't know why, but I just love that right now. It feels so good in my upper back. You can also have your hands just down under your shoulders. And some of you might like to interlace your fingers around behind the back of your lower back, behind your back. I don't like that so much right now. Not sure why, but I know some people do. So if you want to add that, go for it. Really nice. Okay, when you're ready, bring your hands underneath your shoulders if they're not already. And we're just gonna come up, okay? So you might wanna bring your feet a little closer together. If they're really wide, you might wanna bend the knees a bit. Gently bring your hands to your hips, hug your elbows, and rise up. And we'll do that little sequence on the other side. So just adjusting your feet, making sure they're in the same line. And then the left toes will turn out to the left, right toes in a little bit, and then bending into that front leg. Again, we're doing both sides, so if you're doing the opposite side, it's no big deal. Okay, bringing your knee right over your ankle. Open your arms up and let's take that same little movement that we were doing before. So on the exhale, the palms are down, the thumbs are coming together. On the inhale, the arms are opening. Sorry, palms are opening to the sky, and then the arms open up. Thumbs down, exhaling. Just following at your own pace, a little opening for the chest, a little mobility for the shoulders. And just moving with the breath tends to be quite calming for the nervous system as well. So good. And then next time your arms are open, let's keep them there. Shoulders soft. Integrity in your knee, your front leg. And then we can allow that back hand to land on the leg and reach up with the left arm, or maybe hold the back of the skull if that feels right for you today. Hugging the elbow in towards the temple. I like to kind of sink a little deeper into the lunge here. And again, think of this spine kind of growing up out of pelvis. Awesome. And then we'll come into triangle. So straightening that front leg, releasing the arms open, tipping forward. Again, making sure there's a little bit of a bend in your front leg. You may or may not want to shorten your stance a bit. For me, it depends a bit on the day. Today I'm liking the wide stance, but some days I prefer them a bit shorter. And again, you can take that arm up, just kind of notice that how that's feeling. You can also explore that side bend quality here, holding the back of the skull with that top arm and kind of scooping the elbow close to your temple and up to the sky. And do be really aware of what's going on with your front knee, especially if you are taking this more side bend version. It means a bit more weight is coming forward. So we want to make sure that we're not putting that weight into the knee joint, the leg is pushing back up into the hand. I like to really engage my glutes here. And one of the ways I do that is I think about pressing the heels down and a little apart from each other. Okay, let's inhale and then gently spin down and allow the back knee to come to the earth, and feel free to pat it. And then we're going to heel toe the left foot. I'm so bad at mirroring. Open to the left, turning the toes off on a little bit of an angle, like a 1 o'clock. You might untuck the back toes. You don't have to. It's just a bit of a different feel. Either way, you want your foot active. And we're melting the hips forward, but again, that's not about trying to get necessarily as far as you possibly can, but to really get that feeling of length and stretch into the hips. You can keep your heart up nice and high, or you might lower down a little bit, maybe even bringing your elbows to your blocks or the floor. Take your time. The two hips are usually at least a little bit different, so honor that. And you might try this winged variation here. So you're flaring your toes up, the foot is really active, and the knee wings open. But if you just take a quick peek at your left ankle, it should be free of wrinkles. So it's not sickling, it's just really nice and straight as if there was a ski boot on it. So the opening is really coming from the hip. And try to breathe deeply here. Sometimes this can be intense, so there can be a tendency to hold the breath. So if you're doing that, A, you could breathe deeper, B, you could back off a little, right? So sometimes when the breath gets short, it's because we're pushing ourselves a little bit farther than we need to, okay? And if you did on the other side and you're feeling it here, we could add that little bit of a quad stretch. So your right hand can go a little bit wider than your mat. You could bend that back leg and then twist open and hold onto the foot with your left hand, gathering it in. It is possible to do this on your elbow as well, if you have quite a lot of space. I like to think about dragging my back knee forward a little bit. So I'm really rolling onto my thigh and I'm not just digging my knee into the ground. My kneecap, my patella, is actually not on the mat here. It's really the bottom of my thigh bone. And that's because I can get my hips forward quite a bit. So really allowing the hips to come forward helps. Nice. Let's take one more deep breath here. It's my tight side today for sure. And then when you're ready, you can come back up to your hands if you're down. Ease off on your hips and let's gently straighten that front leg. You can keep the foot a little wide, that's fine. Flex it. Lengthen your heart and then melt a little bit. Just easing off there. Okay, and then from here, we're going to return to wide-legged forward bend. So you can pick up that back knee again. And then turn all of the toes to face the long edge. Let's bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Bend the knees a little bit, hug the belly in, bring your hands to your hips, hug the elbows, and gently come up to standing. Then you can just heel toe your feet in together, just coming into a nice, comfortable standing shape. And take a moment to receive that.